Hi everyone, my name is Gray from THICCLY. Today we are going to talk about propagating our plant on the THICCLY GrowPole version 3. So the version 3 is different from the earlier versions because it is a front opening version. So what it allows you to do is to open up the GrowPole after you have cut the plant to remove it easily. So what we have over here is one of the first plants we put on the GrowLid system, and this is a Florida Billietiae X Billy. And it's growing very well and it's very big, but the unfortunate thing is that it's so big to the point where it topples over sometimes under high winds outside our house. And what happens is that then the leaves actually go out of the shaded area and they get burnt. And at the same time, if you look at the plant, it's turning a little bit green, less variegated than we would like to. So what we are going to do now is we are going to take its top off, and that's going to remove a condition called apical dominance, which means that the plant is sending all of its nutrients to the topmost node and making the next leaf grow bigger and bigger, which is how plants usually grow. So once we have taken its top off, we are going to propagate that section. Hopefully it does well. But at the same time, what happens is that it will help the plant to actually promote budding, and it's going to grow a lot of plants from the sides. So without further ado, this is the plant we are propagating once again. And it's massive. So what I'm gonna do, instead of using shears, I'm gonna use a sharp knife. So this is a folding knife that we have. So what we want to do is to cut the plant at a node. A node means that all of these segments, so every segment there is a leaf and there is an opportunity for it to form a bud. So if you cut a plant at the leaf is just going to live for a little while, and after that it's going to die eventually. What you want is to have a node available, and the node will allow the plant to restart from over there. So let's get the cut in at the node between the leaves. So what I'm gonna do here is just to carefully push the leaf away, and I'm going to cut it right here. Okay. You want to use a sharp knife for this because a sharp knife actually helps the plant to recover faster. It allows the wound to heal more effectively. Okay, it's a little bit thick because it's growing on a grow pole. The stem is much thicker than if it was not climbing. So I'm just gonna change my hand. See, there's a bunch of ants. I'm sorry, I'm damaging your house. Okay. Okay. Now that I've cut through it, what I'm going to do now is to basically unclip the grow pole. Okay. So you can unclip the grow pole from the front for the version 3 onwards, and that just makes it easier for us to remove the plant with its roots. By removing a plant with its roots already established, you are going to help the propagation do so much better. It's going to recover faster and it's going to grow bigger than if you didn't have it in a grow pole. We're going to take out the substrate. Okay, just a bit of moss. Over here we have one of the EVA sponges. Okay, just gonna plug that out. I think the sun was pretty hot today. The EVA sponge has actually dried out. I accidentally let the reservoir dry out. So if that happens, you just need to let it absorb a little bit of water. It's gonna soften and it's gonna make it a much easier process. So the sponge has softened a little bit. It's gonna allow us to actually pluck it off. Okay. Maybe it needs a little bit more water to just be careful and go slowly so you do not damage the roots as much as possible. If it's not budging, maybe we can open another layer. Okay. And this sponge has a lot of roots inside of it, so it's making it a little bit more difficult than usual. Okay, so key takeaway is to moisten your sponge properly so that it makes the removal process easier. But as you can see, we managed to remove the entire top cut with roots intact, and that's going to propagate so much faster than if it didn't have these roots. Okay. So I'm gonna set this aside. So with the top cut off, what we are going to do is we are going to propagate this onto a GrowLid system directly. This is a top cut, so you actually have a leaf growing out here. Usually when you propagate them, the top leaf, especially when it's young like this, there's a high tendency for it to die. Fingers crossed, with any luck with the GrowLid system, it might survive. But what you want to be careful usually when you propagate is you want to keep an eye out for where the buds are coming out, which is the little nubby things that's come out of the nodes, and that's where usually the leaves come out from. So you want this to face away from the grow pole so the new leaf doesn't grow into the grow pole. So what we are going to do is we are going to face it outwards. We're going to take a piece of tape and we are going to secure it onto the grow pole. So you notice that I'm taping it over the cataphyll area, which is basically the sheath that's over the new leaf. The reason I do that is because that is not a permanent structure that falls off as the leaf either grows or if it fails to grow and it dies. The cataphyll is going to come out of it as well. So that's the best place for me to actually tape it. You do not want to tape it over the eye as much as possible. Because you don't want the new leaf to basically grow into the tape and get deformed. Okay, now that we have taped it down, you want to try as gently as possible to put the roots into the net pot area so it actually gets the moisture. So I'm going to show you over here. If the root's long enough, you want to put it through the hole. And at the same time, what we can do is basically to put a bunch of rocks. I'm using lava rocks over here. This helps to keep the roots hydrated and also to weigh down the roots to help to hold it in place. That usually works better for smaller propagations, but for a big one, we're still going to do it. It still helps a little bit. Okay, so there's a bunch of rocks. Before we started, we put the sponge at the bottom, and this is going to help to wick up water into the grow pole and keep it hydrated. So now that this is done, I'm going to add substrate. So what we have here is a cocoa coir substrate that we have developed. And what you want to do is to keep the top part of the grow pole open so it forms a natural funnel. And you just put it in like this and you will have the least mess possible. So when you are choosing a substrate, you really have to cater to the growing conditions you're in. We're using cocoa coir, which is a much drier substrate. Because in Singapore we have very hot and humid weather. We don't want the moss to actually collapse and they close all the pores, and that's when you get anaerobic conditions. Okay, so we have that done. Make sure to get your cataphyll, any part of the plants, out of the grow pole before you close it. So I'm just going to face it towards me to make it easier. Okay. Now that this is done, we are going to put a piece of sponge over here. This also comes with your GrowLid. And the sponge basically slows down the flow of the water and keeps the substrate hydrated. So we're just going to water most of our water through here. Make sure the sponge is fully expanded. You can also water it through the top. What you want to do is to water it until the water line reaches the root. So once the roots are established and it goes down, then you don't want the net pot to be sitting in water because that can cause rot. And we're done with the propagation of this plant. Thank you for watching. Grow thickly always.